What is happening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Park Lane Podcast, episode number 82, which once again is sponsored by our good friends at Manscaped. If you're new to the channel or you've never heard of Manscaped before, head over to manscaped.com and check out their full range of male grooming products, which are available online. They do all kinds of things from intimate shavers to nose hair trimmers, and they do really comfortable boxers, which, too much information I'm wearing right now, and they are incredible. And, they've got a load of really cool stuff on there, moisturizers and everything else. So head over there and use the code PARKLANE20. That's PARKLANE20 for 20% off, plus free shipping. Now, a few people fell off the, boat today and didn't make it. So I'm joined by two amazing co-hosts. Start off with you, Kallum. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. It's been a long day. I think it's been a long day for all of us. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know what? I'm still in good spirits, but a little bit down earlier, but I'm back up again now. And Dave, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. A little bit of housekeeping first, if you don't mind. As a channel, we obviously got some comments were made last week by Kallum. Obviously, they were made in jest, but they have upset a few people. So a couple of things I want to apologise as a channel if you were offended by any of the comments that were made. And obviously, we don't advocate any sort of violence on this channel. But Kallum?
Yeah, obviously, I was on a rant last week. I don't advocate violence whatsoever, and it doesn't represent the channel for what we stand for as well. So I am sorry for any comments I did make towards the Arsenal fans. It doesn't matter what fan of any club you are. I don't want violence targeted towards anyone. So I am really sorry. And obviously I have apologised to the guys on the pod. I just want to put it out there that it was something that I do regret, and I am sorry for being an arse, let's put it that way, and it won't happen anymore at all. What we do on this pod is very important to us, and it's not good, let's put it that way. So I am sorry for what I did.
Well said, Kallum.
Perfect.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm good, mate.
Good.
Things are good.
Excellent. Good. And, well said, Kallum. Right. Let's talk about today's game. If you live under a rock and you don't know what the score was, Arsenal ran out 3-2 winners against Spurs. The scoreline doesn't really tell the full picture of what happened today. So we'll go through all of that. Let's just start off really nice and simple today and talk about our thoughts at the full-time whistle. Dave, how do you feel now the game is done?
It was a mix of emotions for me, that game. I was at half-time going absolutely berserk, and Ange has to be held accountable, etc. But when you kind of overlook and assess the whole game as a whole, I thought we were the better side. I thought we created some good chances. Romero had a good couple of chances in the first half. But once again, and this is something that I think the majority of Spurs fans would agree with me with, is our lack of ability to defend, but not only defend, to defend set pieces. I think the selection of Højbjerg was a wrong one. Obviously, we all know my thoughts on Højbjerg. I think Sarr should have started the game. I think his energy would have been a lot more beneficial to us, as that proved in the second half. But yeah, I've gone from a whole range of emotions. I've gone from being extremely pissed off, extremely angry, frustrated, and I'm still frustrated now because I'm still sitting here now like, why don't we shoot? Why do we pass the ball across the box 100 times? Why towards the end of the game when we're chasing an equaliser, are we not putting the ball in the box for Richarlison, who's really good in the air? We're still tippy-tapping it across. And defensively, this season, I'll be completely honest, we're a fucking shambles. Don't get me wrong, the progress Ange has made in terms of the attacking football, being able to bring players into the game, quick breaks, etc. I'm all for it. It's great. We miss a Harry Kane, obviously. That's obvious. But defensively, I don't know what we work on, and this is the problem for me. And this is what really drives me insane. I know everyone says, "Oh, at the start of a process, and we got to go through these bad times, and we got to go through this, and we got to go through that." But in my eyes, it's not acceptable. it's quite frankly disgraceful how poor we are at the back. We've spent a fortune on centre halves: Romero, Van der Ven, Dragusin. You know, we bought in Porro, Udogi. You know, we've got basically a whole different back line, but it's like these weird lapses in judgment happen by the players, and they make stupid mistakes frequently. And I know Ryan Mason's meant to be our set piece coach, but I'm going to be completely honest, he's clearly not up for the job, because whenever a team gets a set piece against us, a corner, whatever it may be, and I knew Arsenal were going to punish us from set pieces today. It was obvious because they're very good at them. We are terrible. So for me, it's like, yeah, we've made good progress. You know, nice football, etc. We try to overplay too much. We don't shoot enough. Our equaliser that was disallowed came from us just taking a shot from long range. Yeah, terrible shot, but it took a bobble, deflection, Van der Ven scores. You know, why don't we do that more? You know, we're 3-2 down with 3 minutes to go, whatever it may be, and we're knocking it across. You know, we're not Man City. We don't have De Bruyne, somebody who could play that ball, that killer ball. We don't have that quality as such. Yeah, we've got good quality, but we don't have that level of quality. So for me, it pisses me off. It drives me crazy. But defensively, it's a problem, and it's a big problem. You know, and I know Ange made some comments after the game saying he doesn't feel like set pieces would solve issues, but it solves a massive issue. It solves. I mean, I don't know if I'm the only one. Do you boys see it? Do you see the fact that set pieces we're so weak? I know Vicario could be a little bit stronger and he should get more protection, whatever. But who's going to protect him if he can't do too much if our players won't stand 2 feet near him? You know, you're giving players a free run at the ball to attack the ball and head it in. It's a bit of a joke. So, I mean, I put out a tweet about how many goals we conceded, and I said, well, these games coming up, we're going to concede a hell of a lot more. And so far, I'm right.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it, Kallum? Sorry, because you know, there has been so much progress in terms of like offensively, in terms of, as Dave said, you know, one-touch football, high lines, you know, all the things that you do want to see. But all of that comes with a lot of risks. And, you know, one of the things that I want, you know, to make everybody very clear on is that, you know, without kind of going too long on this, is that Ange Postecoglou has been in the job for nearly 1 season, right? He doesn't have a team that he needs. He desperately needs a defensive midfielder that can play and help out of the back, but also progress forward. So he needs to be a progressive defensive midfielder, somebody that's good on the ball, can make passes. Yes, we've got Papsar, but I think he's much better when he goes forward, you know, in terms of rather than just sitting back as a defensive midfielder. I think he'd be wasted in that position. And he also needs a top quality striker, because Son Heung-min today was completely out of it. He had 1 chance when the ball came over the top. Yeah, and he couldn't handle it at that time. And this is not against Sonny. Sonny was much better when he was on the left. And you know, as a lot of people have said, he needed to we need to put Richarlison up and him on the left a lot earlier. To be honest, Christian Romero could have played centre forward today, because I thought, I'm not even joking, I thought he was absolutely outstanding in both defensive and offensive. Like, the way he just took the game by the scruff of the neck and scored the first goal was unbelievable. Like, why, you know, I had to turn around to the person I was watching the game with, and I was like, why is the centre back playing centre forward? Do you know what I mean? But we need somebody who's going to be a bully, somebody that's going to come into these games and grab it by the scruff of the neck. I don't think it's Richarlison long term. I think he works in a kind of ruffle up the defenders, try and create a bit of space, that kind of thing. But I don't think is it long term. Who we get, I really don't know. But Kallum, where do you sit in terms of Ange Postecoglou? Because do you think there are people overreacting at the moment, or do you think it should be this way with the current manager?
I think there is a lot of overreaction, to be honest. There's going to be... We all said there was going to be ups and downs in his first season, and me and Dave both advocated saying there was going to be some big hits where we will get really bullied, really knocked back. And it happened a lot with... Ange when he was first at Celtic. It happens with a lot of new managers. I mean, if we take Liverpool, for example, when Klopp first came in, he had to be outdone by us 4-1 at Wembley to realise that Dejan Lovren was not the defender that he wanted. Needed a a revolution, something to progress, and that's what convinced them to go out and get Van Dijk and Alisson as well, thinking that Coutinho was not what they needed anymore. They'd change the dynamic. And I think that we all have to be aware that we keep saying progress, new project, new manager, everything like this. But if the club goes that way, then we follow the club. So we have to go the club way. We don't have to like it, but as fans, we don't have enough sway to convince Enoch to sell up and go away, if you get what I mean. So Ange is what we've got here and now. There's always going to be problems with it. We know with the high line system that you're going to get caught out. We know that if you do play that high line, you expect to score more goals than, you have to outscore the amount that you concede. And we've had some games like that this year, like with Burnley beating them 5-2, when we was going at Chelsea, when we lost 4-1. We just keep going. But what it is that there's a lot of weakness throughout the whole team, and it's a squad that is made up with, Ange type players, but there's a lot of players that have been there since 5 managers ago. They've been there too long. They haven't been moved on. No one's wanted to buy them one way or another. And I'm going to throw a controversial one out there because, like Dave said and like you said, Luke, Romero was outstanding today. He proved that he's a World Cup winning centre-back. I think Son's the wrong captain now. I would actually strip Sonny of the captaincy, and I would strip Maddison of vice captaincy. I would actually make Romero the captain now because I think he just has something about him. I don't think Son has the aspect on the pitch where he leads from the front. He's like Maddison. He can be quite petulant. He can be quite
sulky.
Controversial. Yeah, he sulks. He drifts in and out of games. Whereas Romero, he's got a violent streak to him. He's got a red card to him, but at least he puts everything on his sleeve.
I agree with you, Cal. Just really quick, to interrupt too much, but you say that about Romero, but since he's been made vice captain, his disciplinary record has disappeared. He's been unbelievable since he was made vice captain, given that bit of leadership. He's really led. So I think the discipline thing is something that he's really worked on getting out of his game. So I wouldn't hold that against him anymore.
So I think definitely that there is a question to be asked. Should Romero be captain now? Because a lot of it where Vicario is getting bullied in the box, maybe if Romero is there, needs to be telling Vicario, grow up, start doing this, start doing that, defend your box.
But then he's there. I mean, Kallum, he is there. Like, he is vice captain. Doesn't mean because he's not captain doesn't mean he can't say anything. Like,
you can be a leader without an armband, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. I think there is a lack of leadership throughout that team. There's only not many people can stand up today and say that they can be held to account for what they did. Maybe Vicario, maybe Kallum, something like that. So, like we said,
I was thinking, just really quickly, boys. I know, Luke, you mentioned the defensive midfield player, and I've had this name in my head for a little while, and that's Calvin Phillips. And the reason I say that, I don't think he's had the best time at West Ham. He obviously didn't have the best time at City, but he is that type of player, the player that can defend and be progressive. I just think someone like that, he wouldn't cost an absolute fortune. It's an Enoch type buy. He would be perfect for an Ange sort of system.
Yeah. Do you know who really likes him? Wes.
Yeah.
Wes absolutely loves him. Like when we were in January, he was absolutely fuming that we didn't go for him. My worry is like how he's getting on at West Ham, and like how is he going to then fit into this? But I don't know the circumstances of why he's not getting. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really the best person to speak to because
the problem you probably got with it is that he's not really played much football for the last 2.5 seasons. So that's an astronomical risk. I know we took a risk with Werner in January, but at least he had played football consistently.
Yeah, but imagine a Calvin Phillips with a full pre-season under Ange. That kind of work rate, that intensity. And being able to do what he can do. People forget not so long ago he was part of an England midfield that was dominating, so he isn't just going to lose all that. Unfortunately, he hasn't played many games. So you get him playing, you get him fit again, you get the Calvin Phillips that I thought we should have signed from Leeds as opposed to City.
The only problem I see is that he's got more own goals than Højbjerg at the moment, so that is a concern. But no, like what we've all said, we all know there's problems there. I wouldn't be drastic and say that Ange needs to go, because he's had theoretically 2 windows. He's lost the best player that our club has had in recent history. We've got a whole new team who are trying to adjust a lot from outside the Premier League, but there is glaring problems that need to be solved this summer. And I think a lot of that has to stem starting from the coaching staff as well, because I think at least 2 to 3 of them coaching staff, I'd probably keep Ange and Chris Davis as head coach and assistant manager. But to be honest, I'd rather go and get Defoe up from the under-21s, bring him in as an attacking coach, bring up Wayne Burnett to be defensive coach, because I mean, at least with the under-21s and the under-18s, they can bloody defend set pieces and they can actually play prime Ange ball. I spent yesterday and Friday watching the 21s and the 18s both play, and they played outstanding. Everything looks like they're not afraid to shoot. That's the problem. I mean, the amount today that we would get into a brilliant position against Arsenal, and then we'd be facing forward, and we go
Turn back round,
and we turn backwards and all that. And I thought did we have Højbjerg in 6 positions up front today? Literally, it was so negative that, yeah, everyone says we were the better team, we was this, we was that. Well, you can't be the better team if you don't score, if you don't shoot,
I do think everyone does need to calm down, because and this is, people talk about me being positive now and everything else, but what it is I remind myself that we had a conversation on this podcast when Ange first came in and Kane left, and all of us said, I'll take 10th next season. I think we're going to finish mid-table. I think we're probably going to, that's the best we can hope for. We're sat 5th. We don't get Champions League. We don't deserve it at the end of the day. Simple as that. But I didn't think we were getting European football at all. And that's something I have to remind myself of constantly, that, hang on a minute, I didn't even think we'd be here where we are. So you got to take the rough with the smooth.
I wish you'd reminded yourself of that when you texted the group and said, this is a sackable offence.
It is sackable. It is sackable. 3-0 at half-time at home to your rivals. It doesn't matter who you are. It's sackable at half-time. Unfortunately, luckily for Ange, he turned it around. They turned it around in the second half, because if Arsenal had gone on to score 6, that to me is, it doesn't matter what, whether it's a new project or anything else. You're at home against your main rivals. You don't lose, 3, 4, 5, 6-0 at home.
Especially as when you've had 2 weeks to sit there and prepare for it, and you should be rolled up ready for this game. And we didn't even look like we were.
Saying that, Kallum, we were. The first 10 minutes, I thought we started really, really well. I thought we started positively. I thought we started aggressively. We were winning the ball up.
Van der Ven's equaliser counts. I don't think we lose that game.
No.
The problem is it's like what we've all 3 of us have said on different pods. The first 10 minutes, yeah, that's great. We played the first 10 minutes. If we get a goal, then it's fine. But why can't we consistently do that throughout 90 minutes? Why do we do it the first 10 minutes and the last 20 minutes we disappear for the middle 60 and all that?
I just want to be able to defend, Cal. That's it. I just want to be able to defend.
Even if at least we go and score 5 and concede 3, I'd be more happy with that to start off with, at least with this high line style. But we can't even do that. We can't even score.
The problem is, and this is a big problem. I know we're kind of going off tangent here a little bit, and I don't want to distract us from from everything else. But the problem is, we lost Harry Kane. Harry Kane was our goal scorer. You can't replace him up front. That's the problem. We're trying to replace him with Richarlison, who's has his moments, but isn't Harry Kane. Sonny is not a striker. He's a winger. So in my opinion, the only way out of this scenario is for Enoch and Daniel Levy to put a hand in their pocket at the end of the season and go, there's 80 million, go and get Isak, or go and get someone of that who will take a shot, who will take a risk. Because the problem is, Son is a good finisher, he's a great finisher, but he plays up front, but he still plays like a winger. Doesn't play like a centre forward because he's always drifting. So
I would do.
I've never seen Son hold up the ball. I've never seen that.
Go on.
I would take 50 million and go and buy Darwin Núñez. I think Liverpool would sell him, and I think they'd sell him for less than they paid for him, and I seriously would go and buy him. I don't think we can get Isak. I don't think we would spend the money to go and get Isak, but I think we could afford Darwin Núñez, and I think that I honestly still think that he could be an absolutely fantastic centre forward in the Premier League.
his confidence is massively low in Nunes, and that's the problem. He's missing chance after chance after chance. But Liverpool are a bloody mess, which probably doesn't help him. And it doesn't. One thing about Nunes, and I don't talk about Liverpool too much, but when he misses a chance, you don't see other players going up to him, patting him on the head. So don't worry about it. You can have one.
No,
they just kind of go, "Oh, for God's sake," and just walk away from him. So yeah, I think there's a player there. I've always said that. I just think we need someone strong in the middle. We need someone who can hold the ball up, who can bring other players into play, and who isn't afraid to take a shot.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. Sorry, just to cut across you, mate, just quickly. I just want to ask both of you this question because it's something that I've asked myself over the last 3 fixtures now. Do you think Ange is telling them to only shoot from inside the box? Because we cannot, we can't take a shot. That's the problem.
It's definitely part of the tactical training. Yeah, the idea is to keep the ball, keep the ball. Do not give it away. Wait until you've got the perfect moment. And a moment and a section will appear, and that's the moment when you play the ball and you score. The issue is either it's not being coached well enough to them, or the players aren't good enough to do it.
Yeah. Like I said, we don't have a De Bruyne. We don't have De Bruyne. We don't have players that can make that hole. So it's. As far as I'm concerned, I was an advocate for Ange. Me and Luke banged that drum a long time ago. We did bang that drum. When everyone else gone about other people, me and Luke were the Ange drum. But I just think that the coaching staff, and this is where you come in, Cal, aren't quite up to scratch. I think Ryan Mason's a lovely guy, but I feel like we're keeping him at the club because he's a Tottenham lad and he had a rough time and ended his career early. Because
value.
I don't see what he brings. Jedinak, for example, another one. He's an all right player. He was an all right player. He didn't, set the world on fire. What does he really bring to a coaching aspect of the squad? You look at all the other teams around us, even Arsenal today. They nicked City's set piece coach. And they bring in different coaches from different areas that can make a difference. People with experience. We're relying on Ryan Mason, Milan Jedinak, who are very young in their journeys as coaches, if that's the right word to use. And I don't think that's the right way forward. I can't see us improving long term like that. Spot on. I don't want to say zonal marking. That's my fucking head.
Let's go into that actually. For Holly's comment says, mate, I do not want to see zonal marking again.
Fucking man mark. Fucking man mark, not a zone.
This is clearly again, a tactical thing that's being coached into them. Whether that's something that Ange wants, or whether that's the set piece coach or whoever, or defensive coach or whoever, right, is involved in terms of defending set pieces. But it was absolutely, this was probably the worst I've seen zonal marking today, because Arsenal, does anyone remember England, right? England, when they used to do what my mate used to call the love train, when they all stand behind each other at the corners and then they all go different directions. Yeah. And that's when you zonal mark against something like that, or against Arsenal today, who crowd the back post and then run forward. No one knows who they're picking up. No one knows, where the ball's coming to. It's absolutely chaotic. And in the second half, we did start to do some man marking. It was partly man marking and partly zonal towards this end of the second half. And it got a little bit better, but it was too late by that point.
Do you know what I was
heading in an own goal. I don't blame him 100%. He just tried to get something in it.
I mean, it was a striker's finish. It was a finish that Nunes would be happy with. Let's put it that way.
Do you know what? When I was seeing Arsenal line up like that at the back post, all I was thinking was all the Tottenham players just hold arms and just get in a massive line, run through us. Do you know what I mean? Literally run through us. Because what was happening, it wasn't working no matter what was working. So the zonal marking, which led to the own goal, which was, again, it just kept happening over and over again.
There was one instance I saw today where it was coming in from the left-hand side. So we had 4 of our players in front, then Vicario, and there was about 3 Arsenal players in between. And then there was about 4 other Arsenal players off by the far post. And there was just 2 of our blokes just standing there. So you've overcompensated here, and then you've got 2 marking 4 or 5 over by the back post. And that's how they scored. It came from the back post area.
You know what? It's crazy, right? And like I said, sorry, I know we'll get onto the game properly in a minute, but I look at Tottenham, and do you remember when we had that Italian bloke doing set pieces? What was his name?
Vio.
Vio. We looked solid, mate. We looked decent from set pieces. It looks like Ryan Mason, whoever is doing it, has come in and gone, just zonal mark. Pick them up as they come into you. There's There's no structure. There's no strategy. There's no play. You end up with mismatches of size of player on another player, for example, and it's not good. It's so easy to work against. And when you've got someone like Vic, who is a bit of a sheep as such, he's not very strong at defending his area. He's a great shot stopper and everything else, but defending his area and giving himself the protection he needs, you have to man mark to give him that protection, because then you put a player in between him, the attacking player, and the goalkeeper. And we didn't do that. We always let players sit on his fucking toes. It pisses me off because he just gets nudged back into his goal. He pushes him and he goes backwards. Like, you're pushing them. Why are you going backwards? You know, it's like, so for me, yeah.
The thing is, oh, sorry, mate.
I just want to talk about Ben White quickly, because I don't know if you saw. Did you see for like the first goal? He was like pinching his gloves.
Yeah,
he's like pinching his gloves. He's like doing whatever he can, and Vicario's batting him away. But by this point, the corner's coming in, so he's so distracted by that. This is one thing I will give Arteta credit for, and I don't like it at all. I don't want to give him credit for any other reason apart from for footballing and tactical reasons, right? Because it works for him. But he is the worst and the best at the same time in terms of what I call the dark arts, right? So the players do that. The moment that anybody gets any momentum in the game, watch them. If they're getting attacked and they're under the cosh, their players will go down easier. They'll waste time, for fouls on players.
They know how to manage a game, don't they? They know how to manage a game.
He's the best and worst for that, because to be honest with you, lads, I'm getting a little bit sick of football for that exact reason as well, because I don't want to watch a game that's like that. I want to watch a game that's a game of two teams playing against each other, and the best team comes out of it. Not the best team that's doing well because they're managing the game and they're trying to con referees and they're trying to do whatever it is, right? I want to see a game that's won by the best team, whether that's the best team tactically or whatever it might be. But Holly said the same thing, saying, why is no one standing in between White and Vicario? If we know Vic isn't going to be strong, push White off, get someone in between them.
Yeah, and this is where players have to take some accountability in terms of that, because they're seeing it happen. As fans, we see it happen week in, week out, and as players, they should see it. And this is where someone like Romero should take that leadership role and say, "Hey, that's my keeper. Get your fucking hands off him." Do you see what I mean? If we are zonal marking, you see that, you're like, "No, I don't want none of that shit. Get off him," and protect your keeper in that way. Vic does have to be stronger. There's no doubt about it, but he needs protection from his own players.
But if you were able to man mark, you would be able to pick up that player as your player anyway. So whoever's on Ben White is the person that just follows him around, just shoves him off the keeper all the time. Like, I remember Gary Neville saying, Peter Schmeichel would just grab the player and throw him to the floor. Do you know what I mean? Like, the amount of times that Vicario is manhandled in the box, he's going to be able to get away with, something like that. He's not going to be given away a penalty, because the amount of times that it's not given as a foul on him. Sorry, Kallum.
No, it's not a problem, mate. I mean, to be fair, when you've got someone like Ben White, who is he's an arse of a player, he knows how to screw people up, mess them about. I mean, to be fair, the reflection off his fake tan must have probably blinded Vicario today at one point or another. But yeah, it's all about managing a game, and Arsenal.
Too good for England, apparently. Sorry,
pardon, mate. What do you say?
Too good for England, apparently.
I think that's just him being having a poor attitude at the end of the day. But the thing is, he knows how to play. They've turned him into a conversion right back who has got some of the best right back stats in the league this year. So he knows how to do it. He knows how to roll other players up. He knows how to do everything. And this is where we should have been the last 2 weeks looking at how to manage that. And, well, I mean, Johnny's just made a very valid point. We shouldn't. The ball should never get to the goalkeeper. It should always be, we've got someone there to protect the keeper, to clear it out and all that. And nothing about our game says that we have any control over our own box. I mean, going back to the VO bit, we scored more headers than anyone last year, and we conceded the least set-piece goals last year. And
why did we get rid of VO? Why did we get rid of VO?
He's part of Conte's staff, isn't he?
Well, no, he stayed
after Conte.
He stayed after Stellini. Well, he was there when Stellini was there, and then he stayed on for Mason a little bit. But I think just Ange wanted to come in and get a whole new coaching staff with him.
He always does, doesn't he, Ange?
Yeah,
he never takes the same staff with him.
Well, he wanted the Celtic staff that he had up there, but they wouldn't allow him to that's how he was allowed to go. But the problem is that our goals that were conceded last year was because we had such slow defence that we was always hit on the break. Now we're hit on the break because we turn over possession when we're trying to probe their box. So the amount of goals that we've conceded through lapses in our judgment with a high press line, then not recovering, and then from set pieces. So if anything, we are worse defensively than we were under Conte. That's the problem. We're weak in 3 areas now instead of just 1. And that's how bad it is.
But fair, saying that, we should have been strong under Conte defensively because, that's all the fucking idiot does, isn't it? Defense. But I want to talk quickly about Romero in the first half because, as much as it was bad that we were 3-0 down at half time, we had some chances, right? So we had the Mickey van der Ven offside, which, look, it is what it is, right? I don't really like it, but also if someone scores against you and that happens, you like it. Do you know what I mean? You like it when it's offside that way, but
it's insane. It's swings and roundabouts.
Exactly. But
West Ham got a goal at White Hart Lane like that earlier this season. The deflection where it deflected off of a Tottenham player into the path of one of their guys. And they scored.
On a rock, mate, but White Hart Lane was knocked down quite a few years ago.
I still refer to it as White Hart Lane. It's still how it is. But yeah, obviously West Ham got a goal like that against us in the home game. So, and this one deflected off Tomiyasu. So theoretically,
it's from the initial shot though. He's offside the initial shot, whether it deflects or not.
Yeah.
But so that happens, and then Romero has 2 great chances. First one, he heads slightly wide after he absolutely bullies Martin Odegaard, and then the second is just I don't know how he misses. To be honest, I'm still reliving it in my brain as I run through it now, and I just can't believe how he misses, heads it against the post. And I think if either of those 3 chances go in or count,
different.
It's not 3-0 at half time because if Mickey van der Ven's goal counts, Arsenal don't score their second goal.
Yeah, no, you're right.
They don't go 2-0 up at that point. And whilst we can sit there and pick holes in this Spurs side, we had chances against a side that hadn't conceded in the last 6 games away from home. And we really put it to them in the first half. But as we've all been saying, if you don't make those chances count, Dave, then you go in at half time 3-0 down, and you've got to try and unpick what's happening.
Yeah, Romero should have scored both. The one where he bullied Odegaard was a free header. That's it. That should be in that corner all day long. He's just he kind of looked like he mistimed his jump a little bit and mistimed his header. The second one was a bit frustrating because he should have scored, but he is leaning backwards quite a lot, to try and get his neck around the ball, and unfortunately it does come off the post. But we did create chances, we did create openings. I mean, I don't know what everyone else thinks, but when obviously Arsenal did break and Saka scored the second, I thought it was a penalty. I thought Kulusevski's heels were clipped in the box. I don't think the Maddison one was a penalty, but I thought Kulu's heels were clipped. But this is where we have these lapses in judgment because Kulu's clipped, everybody's arms up, waving around, penalty, what's going on? Arsenal just carry on. Boom, one ball over the top, they're in. Little old Ben Davis, who isn't quickest, can't sort his feet out quick enough. Saka just cuts inside goal. If we're more focused in moments like that, things like that probably don't happen because where were our defensive midfielders? Where was Højbjerg? Where was Bentancur at that point? They're right up the pitch. Realistically, if they're both playing, they should be talking to each other saying, "Oh, I'm going, you stay." You know what I mean? In my opinion, you protect your defence, especially with our inverted fullbacks. You have to have a holding midfielder who's willing to protect. The problem is, we did have chances, but with Højbjerg in the team, and I don't want to slag him off too much because everyone thinks he's got a vendetta against him. It's not a vendetta. I just don't think he's good enough because he gets the ball. He's not progressive. He doesn't go forward. He goes backwards or sideways. That's not progression. That's not the type of thing that's going to get you advancing up. There was times when we had chances to break, and I'm thinking, break. Højbjerg gets the ball, and it's like he dilly-dallies, and then he'll pass it three feet to his side. He'll get it back, he'll turn around and pass it back to the centre half. And I'm thinking, well, there goes a break chance. We play counter-attacking football with the wingers and the pace we have that get in behind other defenders. You don't slow the game down because you suit other teams, allow them to get back in numbers. You hit them quick. You pick the ball up, which is why, I know Højbjerg didn't go off, but Bentancur went off, for example, but Sarr came on. And he had that energy because when he was picking up the ball, he wanted to go forward. As opposed to slowing the game down. Slowing the game down doesn't suit an Ange team. That's not how Ange plays. He likes quick transitions, creating chances in that way. you can't slow the game down. So, Højbjerg, I think your time's up, mate. Personally,
There was a moment with him in the game when it got played out defence, and for some reason he took it out into the right back position. Porro had bombed forward with Kulusevski on his outside as well, and somehow he took it back towards the corner flag and all that, and then tried to play it around, and it went out for a throw-in. And I was just like, you had.
But that's what I mean. He's not progressive. He slows the game down, and he suited a Conte style of ball because Conte likes to slow the game down. He doesn't suit an Ange system. We need to invest money in another defensive midfielder. We have to. We have to invest money in another decent striker. But either we're looking for another winger, and it's like, well, what's the point?
Well, I think there was a point that H made last week saying that Højbjerg's got the best progressive long field passing and all that. Well, I didn't see that at all. I just saw him playing around himself. Nearly.
I saw him. He did his usual kick the ball out of play, though, didn't he? He loved doing that.
Oh Christ, yeah. But I want to get your thoughts, actually, Kallum, on Kulusevski, because I thought it was an interesting inclusion in the starting lineup. I wasn't expecting him to start. I tweeted shortly after the game and said, James Maddison needs to be dropped. Kulusevski played miles better in that 10 role than Maddison was. I felt that he was much better.
Even Celso was when he came on.
Yeah, what did you make of Kulusevski's game today? Because I was sat with a person who was a non-Spurs or Arsenal fan today, and he to be fair, doesn't really know anything about football in a nice way. But he was like, "Oh, that number 21, who's that? He looks pretty good. He's had a good game for you today." And when you see somebody that doesn't watch the team, right, that's not their team, and they're commented on how well a particular player is playing, it shows he's doing something right.
Yeah, I think he actually had a good game. I think, if anything, out of the front three that we started with, well, front four, he was the only one that wanted to do something, because we had Maddison being petulant on the floor. Werner, his day was summed up before his injury. He was literally running into the box and squaring across straight into Raya's hands, and Son being elusive till the penalty. So I mean, yeah, he was actually good. He did what was asked of him, and when he shifted into midfield, when Maddison finally went off, which should have happened at half time, he should have thrown Kulu over, and he should have brought on Richarlison at half time. Simple as that. I would always advocate for that, because he made a nuisance of himself today. But definitely he had something about him, because when he was playing on the right, he did bits. He came into the middle. He became a focal point for everything, which Maddison wasn't. Johnson was elusive today on the left. He didn't do enough at all. I'd have rather dropped Son down to the left and played him up top, if anything, just with his pace. But Kulu just dictated play. He didn't try. Yeah, he was culpable of slowing stuff down a little bit, and he doesn't. You can see how young he is. He doesn't have always the footballing brain to go, look, I'll just launch it into the box and see what's going to happen. It's a lot of him and Porro getting into the same space. But I think he was a lot better than most of our other players, to be honest, on the pitch. And he's one of the only ones that can take any credit from today.
I've been banging that Maddison, bro.
I have. No, you have, yeah. I don't want to, diss Kulusevski's crossing inability today too much, because again, I don't think the problem is what we don't understand, right? Is when something's drilled into you, nobody wants to do, like, at a point somebody probably should have grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck and started crossing the ball in more, but nobody wants to do that because it's drilled into them every day of the week. It's pass until you get the perfect opportunity. Until you get that, just keep the ball moving. As we've said loads of times, the problem is that we don't have that ability in the team, and we lose. What happens is that, as you said, Dave, earlier, the DMs or sixes or whichever positions you want to call them are too high up the pitch, and then we lose the ball there. And as soon as you lose the ball in that position, I'm sorry to everyone listening, but you're fucked, because then you haven't got anybody. Then you haven't got anybody defending. You've got your fullbacks inverted who are also up, at the edge of the box, and then you're left with Mickey van der Ven, and even at some times you're not even left with Christian Romero, and so. Then you're really, really stuck for what you need to do.
the thing is, there's definitely a point that we've all made today, and a lot of people have made it in the comments, that hardly anyone did themselves any credit today at all. Maybe Kulu, maybe Romero. No one else really did anything for it, and we know there's glaring gaps in the team. We need a striker, we need a DM, we need this, we need that, we need to manage stuff better, we need to learn how to defend a set piece, play a set piece. And the problem is we're all banging the same drum constantly every single week now. And no matter whether it's us three saying it, Winnie saying it, H saying it, all the comments in there, we're not going to solve it overnight. We're coming to the end of a season which has been transition, we've had good times, we've had a lot of dross as well. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, Ange has done this, we could have had Arne Slot, we could have had these managers. We are stuck with Ange one way or not, if we like it or not. We've got to stick by him. We've got to do this. His style is good. It can play good football. It will look great. It will look bad. It's how Klopp was when he first came in. Arteta has had 4 years now at Arsenal nearly to do what he wanted to do. They got rid of Emre. Look how well Emre's doing at Aston Villa. Klopp's going to go out.
You know what I just think, obviously, in terms of Ange and where we are now, realistically, we're going to finish 5th, 6th. There's no doubt about that. But in my opinion, at this point, why not give Mikey Moore a go? Why not give Judson Bell a go? Why not give these young players a go who are absolutely...
Mikey Moore was actually in the squad today, and yet
that's what
Brian Hill was on the bench.
You've got these people that are, these young players that are absolutely doing bits. And yeah, it is, the under 21s or whatever else, but they're hungry. It's a North London derby. You chuck them in for 15, 20 minutes, see what they can do, give them a chance, I kind of feel like we don't do that. We're like, oh, but we spent so much money on this player, we better bring them on. Do you see what I mean?
That's the thing. Based on how it is, Will Lancashire has got 18 goals for the under-21s now. They're in the PL2. They've progressed to the final stages where they've got to play some of the top clubs. And he was brilliant on Friday night. We have Dane Scarlett, who's a really good finisher, who's young, progressive.
And shoots.
And shoots. We continue to have Brian Hill on the bench, who Ange don't want. If he don't want players on the bench, it's his choice. He should drop them, get rid of them, whatever. This is probably where my gripe is going to come at the club, where I think that Daniel Levy and the directors and everyone else is sitting there and going, well, we paid this money for them, so you've actually got to name them on the bench, or their agents are going to be honest. I think this is where Ange has got to be ruthless and just say, nope, fuck you lot. I want this this player on there. Yeah,
just like Klopp did.
Yeah,
even Guardiola did the same thing. Well, he signed 2 keepers for. He's happy. It's like Klopp sold Coutinho, and everyone went, "What the fuck are you doing?" Do you know what I mean? So I think we just need to back the manager a little bit more, and have the board back the manager.
The best example is Cancelo. He was the best right back in the league that year, and Klopp just went. Oh, Guardiola just went. Don't really fit my style anymore. See you later. Go on loan to Bayern Munich and all that. And all they're doing, they're just dumping these players round Europe or selling them on. We are too fickle, too sentimental. It's the same with the coaching staff. It's the same with anyone who's at Spurs. We are not brutal enough. And Conte had his run over a year ago. And I think a lot of these results have proven them right. There's a mentality issue all the way from the top down now, which is there. And Ange has tried his best to change it, but it is not changing quick enough for him. And you can see in his post-match interviews now, he's getting riled up, annoyed at VAR, annoyed at journalists, annoyed about the club, annoyed at this. And
sounds like he smoked 20 fags in every interview as well, doesn't he?
Oh, tell me, to be honest, that's what he's doing at half time. He's getting through half a pack of Rothmans and all that. So I mean, if Rothmans do want to sponsor us, please don't. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, we're all happy that we'll be 5th or 6th this year. We'll probably get Europa League or Conference League. Hopefully we see some of the young players come through, but we're just going over the same things every single week. And we won't change something this side of the end of May and all of that. I don't see us winning loads of games. Don't see us picking up loads of points. I think we might do City over because City can't play at our ground. But, well, yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem, because if not, that means Arsenal.
Just say this about that. Sorry, Kallum. Is like, I do agree with you to like some degree, But if Ange Postecoglou at 3-2 brings on Mikey Moore to try and win the game, or try and draw the game, sorry, and we don't score, people are going to say, why didn't he bring on so-and-so? Why didn't he bring on so-and-so? You can, in this scenario, you can never win. You can never
win. It's a fait accompli that you got. Literally, he's screwed either way, one way or another. We know he got his team selection wrong today. The bench is what it was. The bench is what it could have been. We can't do this. We can't do that. And
Højbjerg and Bentancur, a terrible partnership in midfield.
Yeah.
And yet
I'm losing my plot with Bentancur, to be honest. But I do want to ask this question because we are running really long. Sorry, guys. Jay has asked panel, what defensive midfielder would you want in the summer?
Yeah, so I've already answered that. I think Calvin Phillips is perfect for the way we play. I think he's perfect for Ange's system. You get him fit and you get him playing. He plays progressive football and he's very good, defensively. I think that he hasn't had a good run at West Ham because he's probably so short of fitness and so short of match time. But you get Calvin Phillips playing like Calvin Phillips, a guy who dominated midfield for England. I feel like he's the right sort of move. And not only that, but he's within ENIC's budget.
It's a tricky one, isn't it, that signing? Because that's how to annoy all the fans signing because you're not spending loads of money.
Yeah, but he doesn't. But he's if you're going to spend, annoy all the fans by not spending big money, going for someone like that.
I don't mind Calvin Phillips, but I do really like the obvious choice, which everyone's talking about, which is Conor Gallagher at Chelsea. I do really like him because I think he's progressive enough to work well. But someone like Douglas Luiz at Aston Villa, I think he would be quality, but I don't think we could get him from Aston Villa. But again, the Conor Gallagher one doesn't work because people would say, "Oh, well, Chelsea need to sell, and he's homegrown, so therefore that works out for all parties, and so on and so forth. And we can get him for a good fee." And the problem is, again, you never win in this scenario. But Kallum,
he's their captain at the moment. You know what I mean? He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, but they need to sell, and he's homegrown, so they get that like works out really well for them in terms of financially, right? Because he didn't cost them anything, and so they get like all the money to go towards fair play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I do a Daniel Levy deal? I'm going to offer Lo Celso, Brian Hill, and a packet of biscuits for Declan Rice. Because to be honest, I'd take a punt on someone kind of unknown, maybe an Edison from Atalanta. I would have gone for Adam Walton, who has gone to Palace in January as well. Someone just with a little bit of unknown to him that everyone in the league wouldn't be able to suss out straight away as well, because what we got to lose?
The perfect one. He went to West Ham. Was Alvarez?
That's not. Yeah, Edson Alvarez. Yeah,
Edson Alvarez was the one. That one for me.
Yeah.
He was the one.
Yeah. Now this is a bit left field, and I'm intrigued by it, but we need him as a centre back. Thomas said Christian Romero would be a great defensive midfielder. Get stuck in, and going forward, he could be great as well. Any thoughts on Romero playing DM?
Could play like Rodri as a sweeper. To be fair,
yeah, I think he'd be excellent, but I do think that he would get a bit. He'd be a bit of a headless chicken sometimes. In the sense that he'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm going forward." That kind of thing. He might forget his duties.
I reckon he'd be exposed a lot more, but potentially there could be something to him. And then then the problem is, as soon as you go out and do that, then you've then got to buy another two centre backs to make up for what Romero does do. I know you got Dragishin, but then you trade up your money for a DM to go and get two centre backs, and then if Romero gets injured, which we know he can be injured for long bouts of seasons,
there was talk that we wanted another centre half, and for me that's weird. Like,
we've only got theoretically three, haven't we? So
we got is that young kid we signed that we loaned out as well to Plymouth.
Phillips. Phillips.
Yeah, Phillips. We got him as well. It's like we got a couple of good youngsters in there. I think three realistically is enough, plus a couple of youngsters. I think the money needs to be spent better and spent elsewhere. Everyone's talking about Jared Branthwaite, and he's a good player from Everton.
Not 70 million, though.
Yeah, not 70 million. No, it's not. Why spend that when you can go and get a decent DM or a decent number 9 or somebody who's going to put the ball in the back of the net and isn't afraid to shoot? Because the reality of it is Son isn't a centre forward, and Richarlison's injury record is horrendous. He's always injured. That's the weirdest comment I've seen in my life.
It's a weird comment today. Jay said some shouts. Thanks for answering my question. Sorry, Kallum.
No, it's all right, mate. There's so many different people that have popped up. I mean, like Tosin Adarabioyo for centre-back, Lloyd Kelly for centre-back. There's the links to Calvin Phillips, the links to Edison. There's no clue of what we're going to get. There's no concrete links at all. At least where we knew that Maddison could be coming in, there was a lot of links between us and Newcastle getting him and all that last summer. Vicario, I know was quite right wing where it came in and all that and out the dark, but usually around about this time you start seeing the idea and the profile and the links of what it is. But a lot of the sources that are reporting them are dross. It's a lot of Italian
bullshit in the nose on Twitter to appear, mate. Now there's transfer windows rolling around.
Well, to be fair, the only one that I've seen at the moment is that we want to get Daniel Riga from West Ham, some youngster under 21s player from Fabrizio Romano. Yes, that's the thing. It's an under 21s player. That's going to be one of them that you might see their name in 2027, 2028. It's not. It's nothing special.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on from today because we've got to talk about this week's 2 games. So we've got 2 games this week against Chelsea and Liverpool. It doesn't get easy being a Spurs fan, does it? So Thursday night, we've got Chelsea. What are your thoughts, Dave? Chelsea have been up and down recently, got battered by Arsenal, then came back to draw against Aston Villa.
We're at home. We're Chelsea.
Are
we away?
We're away.
Are we away, are we?
Yeah, we're Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, we're at the Bridge. I don't know. It's not really a great place for us to go, let's be honest.
What is it, one win in 21 years, something like
exactly.
that?
I don't know why we struggle so much at the Bridge, but we do. I actually think we'll beat Chelsea. I'm quite confident about turning them over. Yeah, they're just starting to find their feet under Poch. My immediate hope for Chelsea is they get hit with a 40-point deduction or something like that next season and get relegated because I can't stand Chelsea. But the reality of it is I just think right now they're not where they should be. Yeah, they're starting to play some good football. I think Cole Palmer's a worry. I said that about Odegaard last week and that he could hurt Tottenham. But I think Cole Palmer is a worry for us because of the DM situation and not having somebody who can control him. I think with a player like Cole Palmer, you stick a DM on him and say just mark him the whole game. You follow him around. That's your job. So for me, it's going to be a high scoring game. I think again, I think it's going to be a hope of we score more than they score.
As you say that, Nicholas Jackson 3-0 hat trick.
Mate, this is like. Do you remember when we played Newcastle? Quite early on in when they just got that Joel Linton and he was playing up front for them and he was absolutely dog shit apart from when he played Spurs.
Yeah,
the same with Nicholas Jackson. I bet he scores a hat trick against Spurs.
Just a quick one, just to roll it back to the DM ones. Joe Linton's not actually a bad midfielder either since he's been converted. He's not the worst option that we could go out.
He just signed a deal, isn't he?
Bollocks.
What are your thoughts anyway, Kallum, on the Chelsea game?
I mean, after watching them play Villa last night, they were really poor. But they probably had the better goals that they scored, and they probably should have won it 3-2. So I just think that no matter where form is in any of these derbies, it's anyone's game and all that. And if Cole Palmer has his day, then he could run us ragged and Jackson can get in behind Davis. But it's just another game. We've just got to go and knock them back and all that and make something happen because today we didn't. So hopefully on Thursday we do something. We get some quick players in there. I mean, if we start with Richie, Son, Kulu and Johnson, then maybe we can get back at their centre-backs because at least one good thing we can say is their centre-back situation is even worse than ours because seeing their ones yesterday, it was like seeing a chicken coop that just had a
And
fox run into it.
Baddy Shield's a good defender, mate. Baddy Shield's a good centre half, so he's back for them as well. You know, he is a decent centre half, so I don't think they got that many worries. If they do, they're going to spend another 200 million on someone else.
Yeah, I mean, Thiago Silva came off injured yesterday, so I mean, he's their composed head at the back. They were playing Chalobah at right back yesterday, and Cucurella at left back is absolutely one of the worst left backs I've seen in the Premier League since he's left.
Don't say that, because we'll get 3 assists against us at the weekend.
No, I know. Tell me about it. And then they've got Disasi as their other centre back, so he'll probably score 3.
But the thing is, they're very good in the air. They're really good in the air. Disasi, Badia Shield, they're good. You know, and that worries me again because set pieces. So yeah, it's anyone's guess.
No, like we're going to concede 3 headers and have 3 high-line goals conceded, something like that. But no, I hope we do. I hope we do something, but my one point will be do not play Son up top against them because he will literally do nothing. At least play Richarlison. He'll have a fight with one of them, but at least we'll get something, I think, out of it.
Yeah, I think that's important in the next 2 games, actually. That kind of takes us on to Liverpool as well. I think it's important that Son, I'm not saying Son needs to be dropped at all. I think that Son, he just gets a bit lost on his own sometimes. Sometimes, you know, he's good against high lines. But, you know, other times it's more difficult for him against low blocks. Like Arsenal did play a low block today against Spurs at times when they drop back into that shape. I think it's important, especially for the Liverpool game, that Richarlison starts. I think that he doesn't show enough like goal scoring ability for my liking, but he does make a nuisance of himself. He's strong.
Well, we don't use his attributes. He's a beast in the air. Yeah. You know, you put the ball into him in the air, let him go attack the ball. You know, the reality is we don't. That's why, and I've got nothing against Richarlison. He doesn't suit this system because we don't cross the ball.
Yeah. I mean, he scored that great headed goal against Sheffield earlier in the season, didn't he?
That's what I mean. That's his. You know, that's what he's about. He's a beast in the air. Yeah.
And I think it's important that you know Højbjerg is nowhere near the starting lineup. And you know, I think that perhaps he needs. Needs to be starting.
I hope Skip is back. I actually hope Skip is back from injury. I'd rather have Skip on the bench than Højbjerg. Let's put it that way.
I mean, I would too, but I don't want to be near the team.
So that'll bring up Tyrese Hall from the under-21s. At least he's got something about him as a creative midfielder.
I think that Sarr was good when he came on again today. I think he just needs more and more minutes, but I think he's just being managed by Ange as opposed to
even Basuma was good when he came on though. Basuma was quite good when he came on as well.
I think Basuma and Sarr worked better as a pair than Bentancur and Højbjerg. I'm losing a little bit of will to live with Bentancur, but I don't really want to go on to that rant.
Because that's next week, mate.
Let's have a break. But
just on Biss, he was actually quite good at screening today. When he came on, he was actually sitting quite well with Vicario when Romero was going on his long old runs into the 10 or 9 position. Biss was actually doing what he should have been doing for the last 10 games. So, I mean, hopefully it's what he does as a CDM, because that's what we was all hoping for, that box-to-box defensive midfielder with him. It just hasn't kind of transpired as it was meant to be. Let's put it that way.
And moving on to keeping with the Liverpool train, I think out of the 2 games, this is the game that I think we should 100% win. I think that the wheels are you know, in the nicest possible way to all Liverpool fans out there, because I know I offend them quite a lot. But I think that, you know, under Klopp now, like, I think it's just done at Liverpool. Like, you know, you saw the issues with Mo Salah yesterday. They've lost so many games now on the trot. The title's gone for them. They're not playing for anything else. They've got pretty much Champions League football. And that's it. I think that should be a game that we should win, and it could be a good one to win before we have to go and lose against City to make sure Arsenal don't win the league. But what do you reckon, Dave?
Yeah, I think we would both. And you'll never hear me be that positive again. I think we'll win both. I think Liverpool are a bit of a mess at the moment, and if they don't get their shit together, they are going to, you know, have a car crash towards the end of the season. In reality, you know, the wheels are really falling off. I don't think Chelsea are there yet. So, like I said, the only thing that worries me is they are both away games, and we don't travel that great to Anfield or to Stamford Bridge. So, I think realistically, I'm with you, Luke. The Liverpool one is the one we should really be winning. The Chelsea one's a bit trickier because of our record at Stamford Bridge. But I think we could. We have the players to be able to hurt them, because Van Dijk doesn't look like the same player he once was. He looks a little bit lost. You know, so. Yeah, I think the Liverpool game's a win for us.
Yeah, I think, we are going to get into score predictions in about 3 or 4 minutes, everyone. So get your score predictions for both Chelsea and Liverpool games ready. But I think, 4 points from those two games would be a fair assessment and be a good standing point for the end of the season. But Kallum, got any thoughts on the Liverpool game? Are you more worried about Liverpool? Or do you think we can beat them?
It's just something about them poxy Liverpool games at Anfield where they always turn up for some reason, even though Klopp is just acting as a caretaker manager now, warming on Slot's seat and all that. I just think something will happen. I mean, Nunez will probably have his best game for Liverpool. He'll probably get a hat trick. He'll probably get a perfect hat trick, left foot, right foot, and a header, and all that. It's just got the writing over the walls. But I mean, if Salah turns up, he'll have a good game. If not, it'll be Salah of yesterday, who was a petulant child like Maddison was today and all that. So that's my hope, that at least we can get something over there. But I mean, if you remember how we were last year, we got back to 3-3 with them and then lost 4-3 because Lucas Moura decided to do his stuff. So I mean, I guess it's so hard to predict these two games because they are two top 6 teams theoretically. We need to, well, yeah, in past seasons, I would say, but yeah, I would be happy with a draw out of both of them and all that. I would actually take that in the way that we are. It'll keep us ahead of United on points, and if we can just solidify 5th, then I'll take it at the moment, mate, to be honest.
This is a time for City to let City put 6 past us.
Yeah.
I don't even care about it now, mate, to be honest. I know I've just lost all interest in how it is now because it's just been a frustrating couple of weeks. I think I'm just burnt out from it a little bit now.
Yeah, fair enough. You're not even playing, mate, and you're burnt out. I don't understand how that works, but no.
Mentally burnt out. Mentally, mate.
Whilst we're at that, mate, it's time for your Chelsea and Liverpool score predictions, Kallum.
I'll go 2-1 Spurs in the Chelsea game.
Okay.
And I'm going to go 3-2 Liverpool at Anfield.
Okay. And I will go next, to be fair. I will go, and I'm going to go same as I put today, which is 2-2. Draw. Oh, for God's sake, hold on. Filled up the wrong one. No, I didn't. 2-2 draw.
What one for Chelsea?
And yeah, for the Chelsea game, I'm going to go 3-1 against Liverpool.
What, 3-1 in our favour or in their?
Spurs.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in the same sort of space, but I think we'll beat Chelsea 3-2, and I think we'll beat Liverpool 3-1.
Love that. No messing about with you. Right, hold on 2 seconds. You said beat Chelsea 3-2, yeah?
Yep. And Liverpool 3-1.
I think the thing that frustrated me most today was that my prediction nearly actually came in for today.
Yeah.
That's how...
All of ours did. To be honest, me and Luke were pretty close.
What did you guys
so
go
let's get into that with the score predictions from today. So these were the predictions beforehand. Me and Dave went for a 2-2 draw. Winnie and Kallum went for a 3-1 Arsenal win. And Harry went for a 2-1 Spurs win. So the only people that got points were Kallum and Winnie with 1 point each. And Winnie now is only 1 point behind me at the top of the league. Harry and Dave are on the same points, and Kallum is now only 1 point behind those two. So it is hotting up at both the top and the bottom of the leaderboard. And talking about hotting up at the top and the bottom of the leaderboard, because in the FPL league, Dave is back to the top of the league. How you feeling, Dave? Confident?
Good, mate. I did tell you last week I wasn't worried. I think I'm about 30 odd points ahead now, and that'll only increase as the season ends.
Amazing. And so you are now, well, this is of yesterday because of how stupid FPL is. Sorry, 2 secs. But you have 2,044 points, which means you are, quick maths, about 8 points ahead ahead of Juan Sancho, who's got 2,035 points. Then Shan Mohit is on 2,025 points. So between the three of you, that's, I believe, who's going to battle it out for the top three. Al Malone is then on 2,007. And then it comes to me in sixth place on 1,935 points. Winnie is in ninth with 1,871 points. Harry is stuck in 14th on 1,704 points. And Kallum is second from last on 1,477 points.
Shamiti played though, Cal.
Pardon?
Shamiti played.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, played yesterday for Everton.
Oh, didn't they get a win yesterday or something
He
like that?
didn't do nothing, though, mate. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
But he did play.
Yeah. Probably his first start.
Well, I only bought him because he was a cheap young striker who I thought they might actually play. But they've Calvin Phillips with no legs and Beto is just crap.
So just quickly, we'll go through some of the score predictions. So Thomas went 4-2 Spurs against Chelsea. Thomas also went 3-1 Spurs against Liverpool. That's 6 points from 6. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Jay's gone for a 3-1 Spurs win against Chelsea and a 4-2 Spurs win against Liverpool. Another 6 points. Oh, sorry. Thomas did change his score prediction 3-2 against Liverpool. But yeah, it's going to be all to play for. That kind of wraps us up for today's show. We'll be back, obviously, next week, next Sunday at 7 p.m. There will be no FIFA stream this week. We streamed last night instead, kind of impromptu to get it out of the way. Winnie is away pretty much most of the week. Me and him will be at the Spurs supporters bar in Glasgow, though. So if anybody is there for the Chelsea game on Thursday night, feel free to shout out, and we'll put some stuff on the socials as well over the week. But until then, Kallum, how can everybody find you?
As always, mate, Kallum Stubbs 97 on Twitter. Hopefully next weekend we will be. Hopefully, me and Dave will be more cheery and all that, and not being festering all week and all that. So we'll see. We'll see.
Amazing. And Dave, I don't know where you get this, feeling that everybody thinks you're so moody from. You're in a great mood today. How can everyone find you?
I mean, I wouldn't call me the happiest of people, but I'm a lot more positive now than I ever have been about Tottenham in the last few years. So that's what I'm going to try and stick to, because like I said, I definitely would be 10th. But at Park Lane Pod Dave on Twitter, or at Park Lane Pod, I am active on my own Twitter as well as the channel's Twitter. So for next week, hit the DMs up, drop me a message or whatever else, and if you want to get involved, there we are.
Exactly, and I always forget to do this. So those of you who are still here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like the channel either. And I want to shout out again, as I always do, to everyone on podcast platforms, because you guys always listen all the way through. And that really does help us, reach more people. The more that you watch, the more that you like, the more you subscribe, the more you share our content, and the longer you watch through our videos, the more people this will reach out to. And in turn, the more people will get to see our content. So if you do like the channel, make sure you do all that. And a big shout out to all of the people, all of the regulars who are in all of our shows all the time. We really do appreciate you, every single one of you. So thank you very much. If you want to follow me, you can Luke_Park Lane, but more importantly, follow Park Lane Pod, Park Lane Podcast across all social media platforms. But until then, I want to wish you a great rest of the new week to come, and we'll see you next Sunday, 7 p.m. And as